Indulgences, the pardon of sins. Further, it is much insisted on in Roman apologetic books that indulgences are in no sense pardons for sin, far less licenses to commit sin, nor purchasable for money. This is true now, but it was not always true. The existing practice, whatever its errors and abuses may be, is at any rate free from the horrible scandals which attended the older method, abolished by the Council of Trent in consequence of the outcry raised on the subject at the Reformation. One proof, among many, that Rome can be forced to mend her ways by pressure from without, though she never does it voluntarily. The Roman Catholic princes of Germany, alarmed at the progress of Lutheranism, met in Diet at Nuremberg in 1523, and addressed a petition to Pope Hadrian VI for the remedy of 100 grievances of the German nation, which they set forth in that document. Among these occur, number 5. How license to sin with impunity is granted for money. Number 67. How more money than penitence is exacted from sinners. Number 91. How bishops extort money from the concubinage of priests. They restated these grievances more at length, classifying them in chapters, and allege that the vendors of bulls of indulgence declare that by means of these purchasable pardons, not only are past and future sins of the living forgiven, but also those of such as have departed this life and are in the purgatory of fire, provided only something be counted down. Every one, in proportion to the price he had expended in these wares, promised himself impunity in sinning. Hence came fornications, incests, adulteries, perjuries, homicides, thefts, rapine, usury, and a whole hydra of evils. For what wickedness will mortals shudder at any longer, when they have once persuaded themselves that license and impunity for sinning can be had for money, however extravagant the sum, not only in this life but after death also, by means of these marketings of indulgences. Plain reasons against joining the Church of Rome. Richard Frederick Littledale, LL.D. D. C. L. pp. 102, 103, London, Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge, 1905. Indulgences, abuses arising from the development of the indulgence in this period, together with that of the confessional, in lasting and reciprocal operation, completed the destruction of the ancient penitential system. Whilst bishops and priests continued to ply a retail business in the punishment of sin, the popes began after the time of Gregory VII, 1073 to 1085, to promise full pardon in return for certain important services rendered to the Church. Ever since the time of Urban II this had been granted in an especial manner to all crusaders. The common people naturally understood this promise in its literal meaning, and in consequence it had the worst effect upon their morality. On the other hand, we find that the theologians of the 12th century, since as yet it was hard for them to reconcile this forgiveness of sins by man with their fundamental maxim, that God alone can forgive sin, partly gave little credit to it, partly, in their explanations of the doctrine, stopped far short of the literal sense of the promises. Innocent III, in the year 1215, imposed restrictions on episcopal indulgence, because of the abuses which rose therefrom, but, as it seems, only to open a door for the anomaly of papal indulgence, for not only was the papal indulgence for crusaders in the 13th century repeated as often as there was a crusade, and even besides sold for money, and lesser indulgences granted for the most trifling circumstances, but now also several orders of monks under papal protection, offered peculiar indulgences with trifling demands, and professedly fraught with the most effectual operation, and at the end of this period of time, in the year 1300, Boniface VIII established the year of Jubilee, in which the most complete forgiveness of sin was to be guaranteed in return for small contributions in money. The abuse was made still worse by the fraud, which was very soon introduced into this traffic. A Compendium of Ecclesiastical History, Dr. John C. Loe Seller, Volume Ill, pp. 365-372, Edinburgh, T. and T. Clark, 1853.